Hi, everyone. This is Jason. Welcome back to the show. My great pleasure to welcome CryptoWendyO. Wendy is well known in the space for her technical analysis skills and insights into the space. Wendy hosts meetups, which you can find on her website, CryptoWendyO.com, and daily crypto updates and analysis on her YouTube channel. You can find Wendy on Twitter at CryptoWendyO. Wendy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on, Jason. I'm glad we're able to make this work today, and I'm excited to talk to you about all the different things.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. And as I said before, the episode, I do this a lot, and I want to make sure that there's certain people that I really love and respect in the space, and I want to make sure I have you on to give your insights, because I follow you. We follow each other all the time online.
And we're good friends, and we're good friends in real life too. You know my baby, you know my husband.
Yeah, we're good. This is my sister, you guys. So make sure you like and subscribe her stuff. So, so I wanted to first ask, how did you first get into cryptocurrency? Like, what was it that drew you in?
So I initially, I heard about it in like 2011, 2012, closer to 2012. And I knew not, like, I'm not a tech person. I'm not a tech person. I didn't come from like a family of like, tech people or like whatever. Like my mom does not have a college education. My dad does, but he was, he passed away when I was young. So I just kind of grew up and I was like, okay, like you're going to go to school, you're going to you can like you go to school for business and that's it. So I don't come from a tech background. I'm just here. So I was like not interested in crypto. I was like or Bitcoin. There was no other cryptocurrencies back then. I was not interested. I was just like whatever. So I kept hearing about it on libertarian radio, and I was in like a transitional period of my life to where I wanted to kind of like switch fields, and I kind of went and looked at stocks. I was like, I'm going to look at stocks and see if I can invest in stocks. And I looked at a chart for the first time. I didn't understand it. I was like, what the heck? So then I kept hearing about Bitcoin and crypto on libertarian radio. And then I was like, I called my husband, my daughter was on my hip. She was screaming, like she was like, we're having a day. So I just bought some Bitcoin. And then from there, I like learned that, if you want to not get wrecked, you need to kind of learn how to trade. And I kind of learned all these other things from just, buying your first amount of Bitcoin. And I bought some Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And I think that's kind of everybody's story, is like after you buy a little bit, you get more excited, and then you start looking at alts and you start seeing what makes sense and what works for you.
Right. And and that's similar to me. I think I actually bought Litecoin first. And I think it was because it was the cheapest, right? And I was like, well, if this is a scam, I don't want to be out that much money. So, so I bought, I think I bought like $50 worth of Litecoin. And I was just like, okay, all right. And at the time it was like 20 bucks maybe. And then I started getting into Bitcoin once I got my feet wet in the space. But it's interesting that you're talking about libertarian radio, because I think a lot of us in this space lean that way. Where we're pretty much freedom minding, leave people alone and don't take their stuff, right? But what is it that you think draws people to in that mindset and get drawn to crypto? Because like for me, I got in crypto after reading Atlas Shrugged, right? And I wanted to know what you use crypto in the environment that John Galt set up. We're going to separate ourselves from society, right? And it led me down a rabbit hole. But what do you think?
I don't know. I think like being a libertarian, I'm very like, I don't care what somebody does, just as long as it does not harm women and children or animals. I'm very like, you can do pretty much, and I'm like, I don't care like what you say, like about like regarding censorship, like you can say and do what you want, but like at the end of the day, if you're like, if it's gonna like hurt a child, a woman, or an animal, that kind of bothers me. I know that may sound a little bit sexist. At the end of the day, like men can hold their own, and I am a little bit old school when it comes to that men should open doors and stuff. So you guys can hate me for that if you want, but I think that it's just an exciting thing, because you're able to you have these ideologies, and and people in crypto, they have these ideologies too. So it's kind of a group of people that share the same things and that have the same ideas. And it's like, we all come together and we all talk about different ideas and different thoughts. And it's just, I feel like that's kind of what draws people, because also too, like even people that are kind of like, they're, from the left or from the right or whatever, like nobody wants to pay taxes. Everybody knows that like our government is a bunch of crap. Well, some people, But you know, but the government is just a bunch of like hoo-ha. It's just
Right.
it's you know, there's a lot of manipulation, there's a lot of censorship, there's a lot of crazy things that are going on. So I think that crypto kind of attracts that, and I think that's kind of where where we can all kind of get together and kind of, you know, this is, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to pay your taxes, you have to abide by laws, but it's kind of like being a part of the crypto community is very punk rock, and it's very oi, and it's very, you know, it's our way of kind of standing up and saying we don't like this, we don't support what you guys are doing. But at the end of the day, you have to follow laws and stuff, but you have to do it in a manner that, you know, is not going to endanger yourself or your family. Because if somebody if the government wants to hush you up, they're going to.
Yeah. And by the way, you get 100 points for saying oi.
Thank you. I'm glad. I appreciate that you know about that, because like a lot of I come from a musical background. I never played any instruments, but I hung out with all musicians. My mom was very into music, and it's just I was a punk rocker and into all that type of stuff. And,
well, no, I growing up, like my brothers were into hip hop and rap and all that, and I just couldn't click with that. So my dad actually introduced me to the Doors.
Okay.
And when and it, like, I think the first album he ever bought me was their first album. He bought me that. It was on vinyl. And then he bought me like the Mamas and the Papas and the Birds and all the stuff that he listened to when he was a kid, right?
Okay.
So I was listening to that when they were, and everyone looked at me like I was crazy. They were like, "What the hell are you listening to?" You know.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and it just evolved from there. So when I got into high school, I was listening to Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and stuff like that. And then somebody introduced me to the Sex Pistols, so I started listening to punk and stuff like that, you know. So I'm all over the place.
That doesn't matter too, because like people meet me and they're like, "Oh, there's this girl that's 5 foot, blah blah blah," and she's like, you know, I don't. People, they see me and they have this certain impression of me, but at the end of the day, unless you sit and you talk to somebody and you learn about them, then you don't really know. Like, because I worked in healthcare prior to when I was in crypto, and it's, you know, I met all different types of people from all different types of background, and just because somebody looks a certain way doesn't mean that they're gonna fit your stereotypes. So that's why it's good to not have stereotypes. Like, obviously you get vibes about people. Like if somebody's like a scary person or somebody's like a good person, you do get that vibe. But at the end of the day, like unless you sit and talk to them, you have no idea what you have in common with them or what they know or what they like.
Right. Well, and for me, it's people look at me and assume, you know, like you said, the stereotypes. And you know, I get the nerd stereotype too, because like, you know, I love my steampunk and I love my, you know, I'm wearing my Bitcoin t-shirts and all this other stuff, and people assume that I'm, you know, oh, he must be some kind of nerd or geek or whatever, you know. I was like, well, you don't know me, you know. You have to talk to me to know me. But that's a great point. So okay, so you've been in crypto for a few years. So, but when did you decide to actually start becoming a content creator? Like, when did you make the leap to that?
That's kind of okay. So what happened was I know I don't like being on camera. I have like really bad insecurities about like the way I look, the way I sound, like all that type of stuff. So for me to be on camera is very bizarre. So I you know, I started posting content on Twitter. People liked my charts, and they're like, oh my God, there's a girl that trades, because there's very few women in crypto to begin with, just because women are not really, we're not tech people. And that's just, it is what it is. We're not math science people. We're not tech people. It's a lot of it's genetics. It's just, you know, it is what it is. So I started posting like my charts and stuff, and people like that. And then I started hosting meetups, and I would live stream those on a YouTube channel because I wanted everybody to be able to be a part of it. And then companies started approaching me and they're like, "Oh, can you do an interview? We'll pay you." And I was like, "What?" Like, I was like, I can make money doing this? What? So I was like, okay, cool. So then I kind of decided to start doing that. And then once so I was making a little bit of money doing that. I was like, that's cool. Everything has always been disclosed and very transparent in that. I've never told anyone, buy this now, this is the next 10X or whatever. So I started doing all that stuff. And then I was like, you know what, I really like TA. So I want to go ahead and make a TA video because I want to be able to like get my voice out there. So then I started doing weekly market updates. And then I decided like, you know, I just I want to do more. So then I started doing like all the other stuff. And it was just kind of like taking baby steps every day because I was never comfortable on camera or like if you would have talked to me, if you would have told me 5 years ago, like, you're gonna be on YouTube, like that's what you're gonna do for work, I'd be like, no.
Well, I mean, and I understand your point completely, because I'm an introvert to 100%. I don't like talking to crowds. And what got me to do YouTube was I basically had to say, okay, if I need to break this, I need to do something that I'm afraid to do. Mm-hmm. And speaking on camera and with the chance of people ridiculing me was that fear. So I was just like, screw it, let's do it. And, I didn't take off, but no one said anything negative. So I was like, okay, well, let's do it again.
Do you want to trade? Because I get you can have the trolls. Because I get the trolls.
No. Well, actually, if I can have the money.
It's not, to be honest with you, it's not a whole, like, again, you guys, all my stuff's disclosed. If something is sponsored, it's always in the description. It's like in compliance. I forget what law it is, but it's in compliance with the SEC. It's not worth, not worth the headache, I promise. I just enjoy doing it.
Well, no, and that's true. And I'm joking, but I had to do something to get over my fear, so I had to make a leap. Mm-hmm. Right. And, as someone who has had anxiety issues also, it's hard to do something that you've never done before that could potentially be seen by millions of people. That's a lot of people can't fathom that, and right. So now I definitely understand where you're coming from. But you do look natural on camera. You do. Thanks. Just, yeah, I'm to be honest, if you had never had told me what you just said, I would have never guessed. I've always thought this is just what you did. I was like, oh, thanks. Okay.
Yeah, no. I'm like, no. I just get up there. I don't even watch. The only time I watch my stuff is when I have to go back and edit it. Like, that's the only time. And I try not to listen to it because I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah. Now I hate the sound of my voice too. But yeah, but I think it's important that like these kind of stories go out, because there's someone else out there who's having the same thought. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I appreciate about people who discuss mental health issues is, and you've mentioned these things on your channel too.
Oh yeah, all the time.
That it helps when there's other people out there going through the same thing who can understand what you're going through, because a lot of times people feel isolated and alone, and that's when it goes downhill. And I just, if anyone's watching this and you're having that issue, there's people out here to help. You're not alone, and just yep. Reach out, and there'll be somebody to help you.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you do have to, I know, like, really quick, you do have to like, if you do reach out to somebody, like, I have a public Telegram group where people can come in and just like say whatever, just as long as you're not a jerk, you can come in and say whatever. And if you're feeling a certain type of way, like, I'll talk to you, or there's other people in there that can talk to you. And it's not for that, but it's like for music, it's for crypto, it's for technical analysis, charts, it's for everything. But if I can help somebody, like, I always will. I just don't answer private DMs anymore.
No, don't do that. But no, and that's what that's one of the things I like about you, is that you're very friendly and open, and you don't, you help people, and I can't thank you enough for that, and you've helped me a lot. So you're in here with me. So
yeah, we're family.
So let's talk about the market. Mm-hmm. All right. What's wrong? Does someone need to go and flip a switch or something to get this thing to work again, or what?
Well, we just pumped a bit, and I'm currently in a short position, so I'm not happy about that. But I'm looking at the charts as you're talking to me right now. So the market, we've been in a downtrend since we had this 14, and I'm going to look at the chart while I'm talking to you, just so I can make sure I make sense. But June, we saw this high peak of what was this, about 14K, and that was when China came out with the news talking about, people got confused. They didn't pay attention to what President I think it's Xi had said about the market, about China being bullish on cryptocurrency, or on blockchain technology, not Bitcoin. So the market went crazy. But since then, we've been in this downtrend, and we've been unable to break we every time we pump up, we fall back down every time we reach a certain amount of high. And currently, unless we close above like 81, I think today is like 82 or 81.40, then I think that I think we're going to continue to go back down.
Nice.
That's just my thoughts. And right now there's not a lot of liquidity in the market. There's not a lot of people buying. There's not a lot of people interested. So we're in like a transition period right now, I feel like.
Do you think it's gonna, I mean, being in a transition period, do you think that signals bear market, or is that just a lull, something like that?
I think it's just, I think we know we have halvening coming up, and I'm not a big tech expert, so I'm not going to get into that, but that's a bullish event that's going to happen. But I really think until something happens, like there has to be some sort of catalyst to happen, like with the market. So
right.
Until we get that, we're just going to be putting along.
Well, and I'm trying to remember, what was it that drove up the price in 2017? Was it just hype?
Because it was all the ICOs. It was like all that. It was a mixture of both. And I don't like right now, ICOs are dead.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Yeah. And I saw on Twitter, and I don't know how much you can believe anything you see on Twitter, but I guess there's people talking about XRP being a security and things like that.
It is a security. Everything that is not Bitcoin or Ethereum is pretty much a security unless you actually have a utility. And the reason why I know this is I get a lot of attorneys to come on my channel. So basically they're going to have to go through, the SEC is going to have to go through, if they don't spit out more clear guidelines, they're going to have to go through and analyze every single project. There's currently 4,800 projects on the market approximately. But like you have, if you go on CoinMarketCap, I'm pretty sure it's 4,800, but like you would have to go through and determine like, what is this project's utility? And there's most projects that don't actually have a utility. Like your Ethereum's utility is you can actually build stuff on top of it. And then Bitcoin is Bitcoin. But yeah, so most of these projects are they're securities. And XRP, I've got a moon bag of XRP. It's like not even a whole lot. And investing in things, I would look for projects that actually have there's some projects that have use case, like valuable use cases. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, I'm not a maximalist, but most of my stuff is Bitcoin.
Me too.
You know, it's just for me, I guess because I show people how to get into the space, and Bitcoin is still the easiest way to do that.
Right.
Because you can, like, I can open Cash App, buy some Bitcoin, send it to them, and I don't have to go through a bunch of hoops. Like, I don't like exchanges. Like, I shy away from exchanges now. There's
very few that I will use, like very, very few. I'm not.
Yeah.
I got off Binance. I'm using KuCoin. I use like for alts, I use KuCoin and Bittrex, which I'm not really trading too many alts now. But like for margin trading, I'll use Bybit. And then if I actually want to buy Bitcoin, I'll either go to Voyager or I'll go to Gemini.
Right. Yeah, because you can buy directly from them. Or Edge.
Yep. Yeah, Edge is cool too. And then I do use the MCO, the crypto.com app. I absolutely love it. Like it's literally the best thing ever.
So, because you have the card, right?
I have the card. So I love it.
How does it work? Like, because I was going to get one.
So what you do is it's like a little wallet, but it's not a decentralized wallet yet. They're working on creating that. But basically you can buy Bitcoin or crypto, like whatever cryptos they have listed. And then some of them you can convert into fiat and top your card off.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what makes it cool, because like when I have a client or if I have somebody that wants to do events or whatever it is I'm doing, I can, or my crypto, like for when I'm trading my crypto profits, I can go ahead and cash that out or, convert it directly onto my card and spend it. Like there's no going to the exchange and then flipping my shitcoin into Bitcoin and then sending my Bitcoin to Gemini or to Voyager and then to cash and then transferring it to my bank or whatever. Like I can actually just spend it like right there.
Right. Well, it's funny you said shitcoin.
sorry if this is a G channel.
No, it's not. This is we love freedom of speech and expression here.
Yeah, but
okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's true. I mean, I had when I was in San Francisco, I did some work for somebody, and they paid me in EOS, right? Mm-hmm. So, that's fine, but they it took like a day for the EOS to transfer around. And I was like, okay, we're not messing with this anymore. So, so what I started to do was like, okay, instead of having a bunch of different wallets and definitely no exchanges, I'll just basically have one wallet that I use, send it there, and I can convert it inside. And that's one reason why I like Edge Wallet, because Edge Wallet, you can do all that. You don't have to, jump through a bunch of hoops. But okay, cool. So yeah, I would definitely want to check that out because they have different kinds of cards. They have like a black card and emerald and ruby and all that stuff.
They have different tiers. Like if you're staking, and the cool thing is you get rewards back. Like if you use, I want to say they give you, what do they give you? They do all kinds of stuff, but they have like you can earn like the MCO token for like spending, like using your card or whatever, and you can they have an earn feature to where you can lock up certain cryptos for X amount of time and earn like 4% or 6% back. So I've got I just sent over some Bitcoin, I've got Ethereum and Litecoin that's over there, and I'm earning interest. I'm getting money back for just leaving it, getting crypto back for just leaving it there. And it's all long-term hold crypto anyway, so I'm not planning on cashing it out and spending it anytime soon.
So I wanted to pick your brain a bit about being a content creator. And it's something that I've struggled with is getting people to watch my videos, right? Like I try to do consistent work. Like I try to put out at least one video a week, but it just doesn't seem to be getting any traction. And the reason why I bring it up is because, people want to get sponsors too. And sponsors want your analytics. And if they don't see much traction, they're not inclined to want to sponsor with you. So what advice would you give someone who's having that struggle right now?
It's hard because I don't get a whole, like on my YouTube channel, like I've got 5,000 subs and I don't get a whole lot of traffic sometimes. And it's hard because I put a lot of work into it. Most of my traffic comes from Twitter. Twitter's like my playground. But there's things that you can do to increase it. Like what I do is I get like a clip from like an interview that I do or a project review, and I'll put it on Twitter, and those get views there because I have a bigger audience. So there's ways you can go ahead and do that. Like you can do that, but it still is hard. And then there's a lot of SEO. Like if you know how to do SEO and Google AdWords and all that stuff, you can kind of promote yourself that way. But it's literally just putting out consistent content, and it's just figuring out what video does well. Like right now, project reviews and interviews do not do well, but like news does well, or TA does well, or you have to find the topic, like a hot topic that people are like excited about. Like do a video on do a video on Cash App, or do a video on like different crypto things that you like, and make them short. The shorter the better. People like, because like I think the average for my video is like 4 minutes that people watch. 4 minutes.
Yeah, well, yeah, I lucked out and got up to 3 minutes on one.
Nice. Good for you. That's good.
But right now my highest watched episode was one I did with Lisa Edwards. And we primarily were talking about technical analysis and the market, and I guess there's also the thing about name recognition, right? Like I'm fairly sure this video is going to do well because of
not as well as Lisa's, because
well, yeah, there's other reasons involved.
Lisa's a little famous. I love Lisa though. She's people can say whatever they want about her brother, but she's a good person. Like she's a good friend of mine, and we just don't talk about her brother.
Yeah, and I know River, and and I've talked to Lisa a few times, and they seem like really nice people. And
I've hung out with Lisa like like a bunch. Like I send her pictures of my daughter. Like she's people are wild. People like this is the thing. If you're gonna judge somebody by a family member, that's crazy, because you can't control what your family member does. Like there's people that have family members that have been incarcerated or have made poor decisions, but it's like, that's not that person,
Right. And that's where I think that's what's important. And that's what I told Lisa actually, because I don't judge her by what Craig does. That's his thing. Let him do his thing. And quite frankly, I've heard some crazy stuff coming out of the BTC crowd too. So you guys need to stop that.
Please, okay, so maximalism is one thing, but being a toxic maximalist, like you guys are forgetting what the whole purpose of crypto, what the whole purpose of Bitcoin is. Essentially, I don't know, because I don't know who Satoshi was, but I feel like it was obviously created during a financial crisis. We had the housing market, people were losing their houses. My father-in-law lost his house. It was insane. So we have this amazing technology, this currency created. I feel like it was created for poor people, for the middle class people, for people in struggling economies, for people that are living in places that are politically unrest. Like, it's not for you rich people. So if you're a maximalist and you've got money and you're toxic, or you're a person that's never had to encounter like being poor or not having money or being homeless or all of these things, like, you really have no room to talk. Like, we are supposed to be helping other people. Like, the majority of people are middle class and poor people. Like, I come from a lower middle class family. Like, do you not understand? Like, it's supposed to be like, obviously it'll never, like, people will never be treated equally, and that's just human nature. I'm just being real. But at the end of the day, like, I want to help people. Like, if I can help somebody, if there's one thing I can do and help somebody, then I'm happy. But I'm not gonna, like, it's just crazy the way that they talk to people. And it's like, it makes new people that come into the industry not want to ask questions. Like,
right. Because I feel that they're get attacked, or if they say the wrong thing, or if they associate with the wrong people.
And they don't know. Like, they don't know. And it's just, I feel like it's just a bunch of people with these big egos, and they're people that have money, and they're just so used to treating other people like crap and all that type of stuff. Like, I'm not one to talk about minorities or being a woman or this or that you're being treated different. Like, yes, it does happen. But at the end of the day, I feel like if you work hard, regardless of the color of your skin or your gender or whatever, or your social status, like, you should be respected for that. So yeah, I try not to focus on that stuff, but I just see these people with this elitist mentality. I'm just like, get out of here.
Well, I mean, you talked about it today on your show with the whole gym friend thing, and that's a perfect example of what you're talking about. And because I tell people I've known Lena socially for a few years, and I just started following Samson, so I don't really know much about him and his, right, where he comes from. So, but she never struck me as a person who should draw the kind of attention that she got because of this. Whereas Samson was calling himself a toxic maximalist. So, all right, so you want to talk crap? Let's see what you got.
Well, this is the thing. A lot of these people, they get so immersed in all these fake realities, like with whatever they're doing, and they don't understand. Like, yeah, I mean, and I've been trolled like hard, like really, 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 really hard. So I get it. I get what it feels like for people to be mean to you. I was bullied when I was younger. Like, I've been beat up, like all that type of stuff. So I get it. But at the end of the day, like, if you, like, sometimes you just have to ignore it. And in that case, I would have just ignored it. Like, especially online, if you ignore stuff, it will tend to go away. But I was like thinking, like, I was talking to my mom the other day. Like, I talked to my mom, I explained to her what happened, and her and I were like, can you imagine being the 60-year-old man and like being known as the gym friend? Like, like, can you imagine, like, let's say Jason, let's say you're at the gym somewhere with just a random friend, like, let's say, like, and somebody's like memeing you, like, regardless if it's positive or negative, like, can you imagine, like,
being plastered all over the internet
and having no idea? Like, it's just, to me, it's so crazy. And I think if they would have just ignored it, like, it would have gone away. Like, I don't know Samson or Lena, like, and that's just my opinion of the whole matter. It's like, it sucks, and women do, like, sometimes women do get it more because we're women, especially in the industry we're in, because of the tech industry. But it's part of the deal, kind of. It's almost like whatever. And like, I've noticed that I've blocked a lot of people, and I don't fight back with people, and they just kind of leave me alone. And then I'll meet them in person, and they'll come shake my hand and be nice. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like,
well,
you guys don't know me or know where I'm from, so just
right. Well, people tend to act differently in person than they do behind their keyboards anyway.
Yeah,
So, all right, wow. Well, Wendy, thank you for coming on the show today. I really appreciate you. Everyone, remember, you can follow Wendy on Twitter at CryptoWendyO, and she has her YouTube channel, which I want to link to this video. So make sure you go over there and subscribe and give her like and shares, and she does so much for this space that we need to support everything she does. So Wendy, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason, for having me. I appreciate it. And I will be seeing you soon.
Yes, right. All right,
Bye,
take care.
guys. Thank you.